Max Meyer just pitched the best game of his career.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I've been podcasting about the Marlins for going on 3 seasons now. You can hit me up on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2. And thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And Max Meyer, on this show, we are going to discuss his career outing, 14 strikeouts, the debut of Augustine Ramirez, and this team is fun. This team is coming together, and the vision of the future is upon us. That's all going to be talked about today. But first, I want to remind you that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Mad Max. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. 14 strikeouts. Shattered a career high. The previous high was 8. Shattered that. 6 innings. Didn't allow a walk. He scattered 5 hits. Got himself out of trouble. The slider looked like an 80 grade pitch. The Cincinnati Reds could not touch it. They couldn't do anything. They were helpless. The location that Max Meyer had today was impeccable. For a pitcher that has been doubted since he's been drafted, this was the outing. He made known to the rest of the baseball world that he is here, he's here to stay, and he's legit. And he is somebody that the Marlins can build around for this year and the years to come. He's got ace stuff. Ace quality stuff. He is nasty. Not just the slider, the changeup. I want to specifically mention the changeup. He got 3 strikeouts on the change in the game against the Reds. Dotted it perfectly. It's a hard changeup. High 80s, about 89, 90 miles an hour. And when it's located well, that the vert on that pitch is killed. It's got that horizontal movement. It's a really good third pitch for somebody that didn't have that third pitch coming out of the draft. Back in 2020, the Marlins selected him from the University of Minnesota with the 3rd overall pick in hopes that he was going to become an ace and become a top of the rotation starter. But there was that doubt in a lot of people's minds. You know, he throws really hard. He's got an excellent slider. It's the best slider in the draft. But if he can't develop that third pitch, he's going to be a reliever. He profiles as a closer if he can't develop that third pitch. And up until this offseason, he hadn't. Not an effective one, at least. Those doubts are gone. Meyer is a really good pitcher. Not just for the Marlins. I'm talking in the National League. I'm talking in the rest of Major League Baseball. Every team gets an all-star, and the Marlins might not have the flashy names that will collect votes, in the fan voting process. They don't have the Bryce Harpers in the lineup or the Francisco Lindors, the Bobby Witt Jr.'s. Max Meyer is somebody that can be an all-star. 100%. We talk about Sandy Alcantara being the ace, and yes, he is. I love Sandy. But so far, throughout the first 20 games of this season, 22, as the Marlins are 10-12, Max Meyer's been the best pitcher and the best overall player on this team, without a shadow of a doubt. Got called up last year, made the opening day roster due to injury. Had a really good start against Atlanta. They sent him down, had an up and down season. Couldn't find consistency. Never could find the groove needed to be a major league starter. Due in part to the lack of a quality third pitch. this offseason completely changed his changeup. The shape is completely different. It's a true weapon. He's added the sweeper. He's added the sinker. The slider seems to have gotten better. Meyer is really good, and he's only going to get better. And yeah, you can look at the fact that, the third time through the order, the numbers start to decline. The batting average against him starts to rise. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. I think he's going to work through that and get even better and lower those numbers and pitch deeper into games. It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all if you see Max Meyer pitch 8 innings, maybe into the 9th, get a complete game. That's how talented he is. This is not the Max Meyer of 2024. This is not pre-Tommy John surgery Max Meyer. Again, he is a new, revamped pitcher, and the Marlins have somebody here that going into the season, it was a big unknown. It was a big wild card. Can he be a part of the Marlins' long-term plans? Absolutely. We're at the point where we can start to consider extensions for him. If not this year, maybe next year. That's how good he is. The fact that he got 11 strikeouts on the slider against a major league team, a team in the Cincinnati Reds that just put up 24 runs against the Baltimore Orioles, is mind-blowing to me. I expected Max to have a good outing. I really did. I felt like he's in a groove. He's going to get 5-6 innings, 6 innings, a couple runs. Maybe 8 strikeouts, 7-8 strikeouts. No, he blew way past that. Could not have expected this. The sky is the limit for Max. The Marlins have somebody here, a homegrown talent that has now been through two general managers, actually 3, because Kim Ng, going back to 2020, he's been here for a while. This is his 5th year in the organization. He's not going anywhere. The Marlins have a gem with him, and they can't waste it. He is ascending into his prime just when the rest of the Marlins are starting to get their feet wet and establish themselves as big leaguers. He's going to be a part of the next Marlins playoff team. I guarantee it. Another player who's going to be part of the next Marlins playoff team is going to be Agustin Ramirez. Made his major league debut against the Reds on Monday night. And he looked really good. He was the catcher for all those 14 strikeouts. I'm going to talk about him and his major league debut right after this. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into player props. One of my favorite players in the NBA is Nikola Jokic. So during this playoff season, if they make a run, might have to consider taking the over on his points. Maybe he'll throw up 60 again. You never know. So from 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. After the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. If you're interested in this, head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. If you're an everyday listener, I do appreciate you being a part of the Locked On Marlins crew. And if this is your first time checking out Locked On Marlins, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any other episodes here in the future. And we're talking about Agustin Ramirez making his major league debut. How awesome was that to see from the perspective of the Peter Bendix era, from the fan that watched the teardown begin? And they watched a fan favorite like Jazz Chisholm Jr. get traded away. Augustine Ramirez is bringing one of those trades to reality at the major league level. He is making an impact and is going to make an impact for many years to come. I truly believe Agustin Ramirez is a cornerstone player for this team. Now, I've had my doubts about him catching, but you know what? He caught all 14 strikeouts of Max Meyer. He was behind the plate every single inning. It wasn't Liam Hicks. No, that was all Agustin Ramirez. And offensively, how about starting his day off with getting a infield hit? Technically, that's his first base hit. You love to see it. It was kind of a slow dribbler. Could have been called an error. But you know what? Later in the game, he rips a 110-mile-per-hour double in the gap. Just crushed it. I mean, you look at the side profile of his swing. It is so incredibly powerful. The power that this man has at the plate. The approach. He drew a walk. It was about an 8-pitch walk, in which he fouled off a really tough pitch. He got to 2 strikes, and he just battled. And he ended up drawing a walk. That is an underrated part of Agustin Ramirez's game. Somebody who is going to work at bats, who's not going to give away those at bats to pitchers. And that double was off of the former Reds closer who's still trying to work his way back into becoming the Reds closer, Alexis Diaz. He's a good pitcher. Just crushed it. I mean, the sky is the limit for Ramirez. I talk about Max Meyer and the pitching side of things. Well, what's been the issue for the Marlins the last few years? Offense. The Marlins never could score runs. For years, they never can score runs. And now they have somebody who they believe can stick at a premium position in catcher. It's been a black hole for years. I mean, Marlins fans have had to watch Jacob Stallings. They've had to watch Chad Wallach. It's been atrocious since the JT Realmuto trade, which feels like years ago. I mean, that's like 7-8 seasons ago. Realmuto is going down as a Philadelphia Philly. And ever since then, they haven't had anything. Ramirez can be that guy. If the Marlins want to keep him as catcher and he can just be serviceable, he had a couple good blocks. Yes, he had a passed ball. But the eye test told me that the defense wasn't that bad. And I don't need it to be great. I don't need him to be Patrick Bailey from the Giants back there. I don't need him to be, prime Yadier Molina. I just need him to be serviceable. If he can be serviceable at behind the plate, what he does offensively makes him a potential top 5 catcher in the game. Once he gets his feet wet and gets into a rhythm, Ramirez, the ceiling is so high for him, and his floor is so high. He's not a bat that's going to struggle. I just don't see the flaws in his offensive game. He's going to hit for a good, decent average. He's going to hit for power. He hits the ball extremely hard. If he can elevate pitches, get them in the gaps, get them over the fence, he's going to be a great player and a player that can be an all-star. And another player who can be a potential extension candidate one day. The Marlins have a really good future at the catching position, which is completely the opposite from where this organization was 2-3 years ago. It's just so different. The feeling around it is so different. Joe Mack 2 years ago wasn't really regarded in any high capacity. He was a high school catcher, just, good defensively. The bat was a question mark, and then he absolutely exploded in 2024. Augustine Ramirez comes into the system last season. Both those two now have a track to being the catcher for the Marlins long term. Either one of them. Because obviously, Ramirez is further ahead in his development offensively, and the time frame wise, he's a little bit older than Joe. But both these guys are going to be in the lineup in the coming years. Can't wait to see Max debut eventually. Again, don't rush it. But Ramirez, like, my goodness. If you watched this game and you didn't feel the energy and the excitement, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you watch the Miami Marlins in 2025. Because this is what it's all about. Development. Seeing who you have at the major league level. Now the question will arise. Will Ramirez go down once Nick Fortes comes back? You have to keep Liam Hicks on the 26-man roster. Nick Fortes is the incumbent catcher. He's a better defender than Ramirez, but offensively there's no comparison. Ramirez is a way better hitter. And you obviously aren't going to hold back Ramirez if you feel that he's ready to be in the majors for Nick Fortes. So do you put him at DH? Do you put him at first? I mean, you have Matt Mervis there. Eric Wagman plays there. So the Marlins suddenly have some depth to their potential lineup for the next few weeks. Man, I love Ramirez as a prospect. It's such a breath of fresh air as a Marlins fan to have watched your team suffer for years in terms of talent. They were just outclassed in the prospect, in the farm system. The farm system was barren. They had no sense of development, no ability to get the most out of their hitters. We saw J.J. Bleday, one of the best college hitters in 2019, get drafted 4th overall, make the majors. He was terrible. The Marlins couldn't develop him. And now he's turned into a serviceable player, a really serviceable player. Dare I say, above average player for the Athletics. The Marlins never had that. Ramirez comes over from the Yankees, and he spends half of the season in the Marlins system, the back half of last year. Looked great to start this season. And now he's in the major leagues. It's just awesome to see. You have to be excited. This team looks a lot different than it did at the start of the season. This team looks a lot different than it did last season. It's just a complete 180 in terms of identity, in terms of the vision being cast for this team. The Marlins are fun. They're fun to watch. And when I think about the future is really fun. I'm going to talk about the future of this team and the vision that this organization is starting to understand. And it's all coming together. That's coming up right after this. Thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, but you can always listen to the podcast wherever you get your pods from. We're on pretty much every major podcast platform out there. And I want to talk about how fun this team has been to watch, even with all the ups and downs, even with the struggles of Cal Quantrill and the starting pitching and Sandy not getting off to an optimal start. You know, Kyle Stowers hit a home run, a pinch hit home run. He got put in the game for Dane Myers against Alexis Diaz, who's a righty. And at first, I was thinking to myself, you know what? Just let Dane hit, Clayton. I want Dane to be an everyday player. I get it. It's nothing about Kyle Stowers, but you're gonna play the matchup here. And you know what Stowers did? Hit a home run on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, the opposite field. That would not have happened last year. Stowers is a completely different player. The development and stride Stowers has taken is so huge for this organization. It is fun to watch. We got to see Agustin Ramirez make his major league debut. We also got to see Ronnie Simon make his major league debut as well. He's a utility player. He was tearing it up in AAA. He had a good spring training. You could have justified him getting a roster spot, except for the fact that Javier Sanoja also had a really good spring and is that utility type of profile. Ronnie Simon got his first base hit. The funny thing is, it was a base hit up the middle that drove in Agustin Ramirez. Both of those rookies got their first career major league hit on the same game, in the same inning, and one of them plated the other guy. Really cool to see. And the reaction that Simon had after he hit the ball and saw it got through for a base hit, it was just pure joy. It was excitement. It was, you know what? I love baseball. I love the game. I love this opportunity, and I'm happy to be here. That's what it's all about. Guys having fun. The fans are having fun. I had so much fun watching that game against the Reds. It was a 6-3 win. The bullpen started to get a little shaky. Tyler Phillips, but Jesus Tinoco got the save, his second save in back-to-back games. So maybe that's some clarity on the closer's situation. Who's going to be the closer? It looks like Clayton's riding with Tinoco right now. So we'll see how that goes. If you feel confident in him, keep going. But this team is fun. They bring energy. Agustin Ramirez, Ronnie Simon brought an energy to this team that had been missing over the past weekend. Griffin Conine got injured. It took a lot of wind out of the sails for the Marlins. And being that he was one of the best offensive players to start the season, it felt like this team was quickly heading in the wrong direction and things were going to spiral away from them, especially coming into this week when you're facing a team that, again, scored 24 runs. 24 freaking runs in a baseball game. That's a football score. They got the win, and now they've won back-to-back games. Their record is 10-12. Maybe they're not world beaters. Maybe they don't have the expectations like the Dodgers. And you know what? Maybe they still go on to lose a lot of baseball games. And they still go on to struggle. But you know what? I'm having a lot of fun watching Stowers. I'm having a lot of fun watching the debut of Agustin Ramirez. I can't wait to see what he continues to do in the following games with this opportunity that he has. I always say, you have to make the most of your opportunity, especially in professional baseball. So many players only get one or two cracks at this. Ramirez is not that guy. He's going to have as long as he needs. But maybe if he shows up and performs the way I know he can, he doesn't go back down. He doesn't have to go back down. It would be a great problem to have. Because if Agustin Ramirez is hitting 320 with a couple bombs in 2 weeks, and they send him back down to AAA, you best believe I'm going to get on here and I'm going to be like, what's going on? Why are you sending him down? Because production matters. I want him to stay. I want this team to continue to compete and battle. Even going back to the last series in which the starting pitching was so bad, it really gave them no opportunity, no puncher's chance to win a couple of those games against the Phillies. They didn't care. They still went out and they swung the bats because it ain't over till it's over. That's the number one thing with baseball. Sixth spot in the ninth. This game against the Reds, Max Meyer career just renaissance, and it all blooms into this perfect outing in which he had 14 strikeouts. He was 2 away from the team record set by Ricky Nolasco. 2 away. I really think he could have done it too. If Clayton really wanted him to go out there for the 7th inning, I think he could have gotten it. Those Reds were not hitting the slider. And the changeup he was dotting that change. Goodness, he looks good. This team is fun. They compete. They bring the energy now. A week ago, you had Conine. You had Kyle Stowers. You had Matt Mervis. But you didn't have another spark plug. Norby comes back. Jesus Sanchez comes back. And now you add one of your top prized prospects, who's your best offensive prospect in your entire system, in Augustine Ramirez. He makes his major league debut. That's 3 guys in the span of a week who have changed the way I look at this lineup. It was fun before, don't get me wrong. I loved seeing what Matt Mervis can do, and I still am excited to see if he can continue this power outburst. I'm still excited for Stowers, as I've talked about. He's a completely different and better hitter at the plate. Just the confidence that he has now. But Connor Norby's a future is the future of this team. A lot of doubt whether he can stick at third. He made this really good backhand right at the edge of the grass, threw an absolute dart across the field to get the runner out at first. Really good play defensively. But the offense is really good from him. We know what Norby brings. Sanchi, watching Jesus Sanchez, I don't know how much longer Sanchi's going to be a part of this team. He could be traded this season. It feels like with the emergence of Myers and Stowers, this outfield, he's a little bit expendable, given that he's been here for a while. He's not necessarily a high ceiling guy, like I think Augustine Ramirez could be. Well, I'll say this with Sanchi. The power potential is always there. You look at that Savant page, you look at how hard he hits the baseball. He has the potential to hit 35 homers, 30 homers. He just hasn't. And he's had a lot of opportunities. But I love watching Sanchi play. He's got a huge smile on his face. Gets a base knock, just rips a single. He's just smiling out there, having fun. Because that's what this game is about. And at the professional level, if you're competing night in and night out with your guys, if you have a common mindset to always battle and never quit, because that's what this team is, they're the fighting fish, then you're going to win some games that you're not supposed to. You're going to surprise some people. This team's already surprised me. Max Meyer has surprised me. I thought he could stick as a starter. I thought he would be better. I did not think he was going to have 14 strikeouts on April 21st against the Cincinnati Reds, which is good for second, tied for second in team history. I mean, it was, I saw a tweet, and it said that was Jose Fernandez-esque. It was. For a particular outing at that night, that particular game, Meyer felt unhittable. And yeah, I know he gave up 5 hits. But it never felt like the Reds were going to win. It felt like any time he threw his slider with 2 strikes, it was going to be a swing and a miss if they offered at it. I kept tweeting out 8 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts, 10 strikeouts for each one. I just keep going. And I fully expected that number to continue to rise. Boy, that was a lot of fun. Can't wait to see what happens next. Now, before I get out of here, Tuesday's game, Edward Cabrera takes the mound. How does he respond to his last outing in which he looked like the classic Edward Cabrera that a lot of us are tired of seeing? Can he respond to that? How does Sandy respond in the final game after just a horrendous outing in Philly? Something that a competitor like him can't even stand to think about. How do they respond to that? Because you got a great outing from Max, but the starting pitching was the problem. So you got to lock that down. You have to establish that and fix it moving forward. Cabrera, maybe you can get one of those 7-8 innings of shutout ball with 12 Ks too. So most strikeouts. Meyer had the most strikeouts since Edward Cabrera had 2 years ago. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. For your second listen, go check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. And until next time, guys, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.